Right, welcome, guys. This is Breakfast with the Brand, the number one podcast in the world for entrepreneurs and leaders who want to go from bland to industry leading brand. If you tuned in live, go ahead, put some flames in the chat. Also, let us know where you're listening in from. I have with me, as usual, Mr. Sean Rais, the king of branding. And today we're going to get into an interesting show. We're actually going to be talking about the concept of closing. All right, so go ahead. I want to say good morning if you're viewing this on YouTube, Instagram. I think we're also on LinkedIn and we're also on Facebook. So phenomenal morning to you. What's up, Sean?
Oh man, I'm super excited. Listen, I found out a new function on LinkedIn, right? I found out the
Okay.
Clubhouse function on LinkedIn. I know LinkedIn probably wouldn't like me saying the Clubhouse function, but I found out how to go live through audio on LinkedIn. So we're live on LinkedIn in two ways right now. And it's absolutely phenomenal. We got Ricardo, we got Loretta, we got Jenny, we got Georgina listening in for the
Nice.
first time. $1 billion breakfast with the brand. $1 billion breakfast with the brand. This is the new edition, right? So we're going live every single day, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to get your mind right so you can get your money right. Getting your mindset so you can go in there and, I don't know, get out of debt, whatever that case may be, whatever it looks like. When you're ready to get your mind right, get your money right, get your branding so you can take a standing wherever you're at, inside corporate, outside corporate. This will be the place where you want to get it done every single morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard. We got Rahman on IG. We are live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn twice, Instagram. Let's go. I'm excited.
Yes, sir. I want to send a quick shout out to Yvette Boland. I see Yvette. Yvette's viewing on YouTube right now. So
Yep. Good
shout out to
morning.
Yvette.
Phenomenal morning.
Yes, sir. How's the energy in New York? How's the energy
Oh,
in
bro.
there, man?
Let me tell you, man, the energy is always high. And let me tell you something, like being from there, you take it with you wherever you go. So it doesn't make a difference. I could be 36 miles up in the sky. It doesn't make a difference. I keep that energy, brother. You know
Yes.
that.
Yes, sir. Sean, today's Thursday, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
We're gonna get into a very interesting subject. The subject called closing.
Closing. Okay, guys. So hold on. Let me help my people out on LinkedIn for the first time. I'm not sure if everybody's aware. Junior said we're going to be talking about closing. Closing is the second half of sales. So I want you to understand, like there's two, you have a sales cycle, and it's the same thing when you're selling yourself. It's the same thing when you're putting your resume forth. There's a sales cycle. Half of the sales cycle is products, services, features, and benefits. That's half of the process. The closing comes in when someone says no. The closing comes in when someone is reluctant. They need more information. They need to talk to somebody. They're not really sure. The organization is wondering why they should give you a raise, why they should give you a promotion. Now you have to close them or convince them. If you've ever gone to an interview and you were not hired, you did not close. You did not close. You tried to sell yourself. You told them why they should hire you, who you were, what you've been through, your education, your experience, and your expertise. But you didn't convince them. You didn't close the deal. And in sales, if you're just giving people features, benefits, the definition of your products and services, descriptions, doing a lot of talking, not doing so much listening or closing, then you're left with a lot of I'll get back in touch with you. So I need to think about it, or I need to talk to somebody, or now's not the right times. Right. So, guys, if you've ever experienced that in your professional, personal life, put it in the chat. Put it in the chat if you've ever experienced that whole I'm not sure, I'll get back in touch with you. Let's find out more. Waited, now's not the right time. Let me know what that looks like. Put it in the chat. Phenomenal morning, Yvette. Phenomenal morning. We have Georgina, Jenny, Loretta, Ricardo. Listen, as a professional, you need to close the deal. You need to close the deal. That's the difference. Your branding and your closing to go from 5 figures to 6 figures and from 6 figures to multiple 6 figures. to put a 0 behind your number or to change the number in the front from a 5 to a 7, from a 7 to a 9. I guarantee you this, closing on a strong brand platform is the answer. We got L Townsend on IG as well. Let's go to the break. Let's go to a break real quick. I'm glad you was able to come back. Let's go to a break real quick while we just let you think about that. Let that marinate real quick. Closing is the second half of the sales cycle. What does that mean to you? Let me know. And we'll be right back. It's very important that you know yourself to the highest degree possible, because it's through knowing ourselves that we're able to know other people. You are the most important person in the room, and the better that you know yourself, the better that you're able to communicate to others. So you're not only playing the game knowing who you are, but you're also playing the game knowing who everyone else is, so that you're not playing blind.
He's extremely engaging with people. He has a fantastic smile, and he's just a very high energy person.
This is called leadership development. So we have to be independently knowledgeable and considerate to know who we are, so we can more effectively know who other people are. As the leader, it's your responsibility to allocate resources in the right places. If you don't know how to communicate effectively, you're losing the battle. I said Sean Ra'is. I'm proud. Sean Ra'is. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and you know, game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So I wanted to provide a little bit of context, Junior, for that, because my people on LinkedIn listening can't see the screen and they don't know the context. So again, guys, I did tell the people there, the entrepreneurs there that I was speaking to at the moment, they asked me, you know, how do I get out of my job? How do I make more money? How do I do this, that, and the third? So Lone Star, we have Lone Star on IG as well. They asked me, how do I leave my job? How do I do this? How do I do that? I said, listen, should you leave your job? Mentally, yes. Physically, not yet. Don't go anywhere, right? So a lot of people want to leave their job, start a business, leave their job, get a better job. They have a problem with the boss, something goes wrong, and they're like, I need to get out of here. No, you don't. Not yet. Especially if you have responsibilities, right? So, but you want to do this. You want to leave your current pay grade. Mentally, leave your current pay grade, decide once and for all that you're no longer a $50,000 earner, a $60,000 earner, and you are now a $90,000 earner, a $100,000 earner. Once you make that decision, the job now is to determine what are the prerequisites of that pay grade. How did they get there? What does it take? And who would you have to be in order to get 6 figures in the same place? And then reverse engineer that process. So I just wanted to provide a little bit of context to the people that aren't aware of how I speak or where I'm speaking because they're meeting me for the first time.
Yes, sir. And shout out to LinkedIn. So we actually have somebody on LinkedIn who posted a comment here. So I'm gonna read it.
Yep.
All right. So Ajayi, I hope I said that right. Closing refers to the finalization of a sale or the signing of a contract. So closing
There you
refers to the finalization of a sale or the closing of a contract. What are your thoughts on that?
All right, let me give you a 4-step framework that will keep you aware of all things. So watch this. I'm gonna help you, and I agree with you. I do agree with you, but I want to give you a little bit more, Ajayi. Right? I agree, but I'm gonna give you a little bit more. So write this down. 4-step process. Lead. First, you have a lead. You've gotten the attention. You have a lead. Second, you generate interest. So now the client is interested. They want to know more. Same thing with the job application. They contact you back. They say, hey, we'd like you to come in. So you've generated interest with your resume. When you get in there, you sell. You tell them why. You tell them who you are. You're going back and forth. You're listening and you're overcoming objections. You've identified the need. That's the main thing, to identify the need. Once the need is identified, then you can determine whether it's ethical. And if it's ethical, which it should be, which you as the closer, you as the person on the, how would you say, the block, right? Getting off of the block and into the building. Yes, you find out where the fit is. And then you close. When I say close, you're right, Ajari. You're right 100%. You close the deal, you sign the contract. But watch this, and this is the part that people do not get. This is the part where most people fail. After you close the deal, you have to think about what's the next. What is the next? What's the next deal? What's the next need? So you go, and that's what happens on a job too. On a job, you get the position and then you stop thinking about what's there next. Okay, I got the job for 50. I got the job for 60. What's there next? What do they need next? Who do I have to become? And what services do I need to provide in order to get to from 60 to 90 or from 75 to 125? Or what's the next close? What's the next sale? What's the next thing needed? It's much easier to sell to someone that's already inside of your system than finding a new lead. It costs less. And in the job, it's going to cost less for you to be promoted than the job to go outside of its own ecosystem and find a new applicant to promote or put in a position above you. So you got to think about your next.
Yes, sir. Definitely do. So that next piece is very important. But something I do want to say, Sean, a lot of people, and I want you to break this down. A lot of people, sometimes they have some kind of negative connotation to closing, right? Because a lot of people they're afraid. They're afraid of closing.
Yes,
So
they're afraid.
saying to those who are afraid of closing, like they're afraid to ask for the sale, they're afraid to ask for the promotion, they're afraid to ask for the raise. What would you say to people like that?
I would go one level deeper than why. Right. So I know you guys, everybody knows about your why. What is my why? What's your why? You got to have a why. Wake up with the why. I agree with that 100%, but I want to take you one level deeper than why. And one level deeper than why is who. One level deeper than why is who. Who are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for, Lone Star? Right? Who are you doing it for, Loretta, Jenny, Georgina? Who are you working for? Who are you a coach for? Who are you dealing with? Ricardo just he switched over from the live to the Instagram live, so now he can see us. What's going on, brother? Yes, sir. So what's your next level, right? And the next level of why is who? Who do you do it for? Now, if it was just me, Junior, I'll be honest. If it was just me, I'd be good at an associate's degree. I promise you, if it was just me, I'd have got a bachelor's degree and got out of there like on the first thing smoking, like, yes, I made it. Thank God. Like, let's go. I got a bachelor's degree in industrial and organizational psychology. I'm good. But I had to look deeper than why. And I had to look deeper than myself. And that's what you guys got to do when it comes to sales and closing. You got to look deeper than yourself because it's not about you. You're the one working. You're the one sacrificing. But who are you providing for? Is it your mother? Is it your father? Is it to make sure that they're good in their old age? Is it to take care of them the same way that they took care of you? Or is it your children? Or is it your spouse? Like for me, I got the bachelor's for me to prove that I could do it. And once I realized I could do it, I went back and got the master's degree for my wife. Right? So John Moses just came in on LinkedIn. Thank you, brother. Phenomenal morning. So I went back and got the master's degree for my wife. My first master's degree got my wife out of her job. It wasn't about a why. It was about a who. It was about a who. If it was about a why, then, you know, I already had the car. I already had a home. I already had suits, watches, clothes, shoes. It wasn't about the why. It had to become about the who. It had to become about the who. So I freed my wife with the first master's degree. And then they said, well, are you going to quit now, Sean? I said, I don't think so. Now my wife is free, but I got children, right? So my wife is free, but now what's the legacy piece? I have children, so now I got to make sure that they're really, really taken care of. Not just with a job. I got to make sure that they're really taken care of. So my first master's degree was in industrial and organizational psychology, the psychology of motivation and performance. My second master's degree was how to build a business. So my second master's degree is organizational development and change, because I had to know how to build a business, not for me again, but for my young ones, so that they would have something to do when they got a little bit older if the job market didn't fit them, because everybody's not suited to be an employee. Some people are entrepreneurial. Some people are free-spirited. I was a little bit free-spirited. It got me in a lot of trouble because the parameters and the vocations weren't set up for me. So I had to set up the parameters and the vocations for my children just in case they were a little bit more like me. Right? So the second master's degree was for my children. And then watch this. This is closing, guys. You have to close yourself. You have to close yourself, and you got to go deeper than why. You got to go deeper than more money. Because if it's just about more money, you're not going to stick around, because things are going to go hard. It's going to get rough, and things are going to be curveballs will be thrown. So watch this. I got both master's degrees. My wife is free now. I'm building a business. I'm like, okay, I've got this business. Do I quit now? Do I quit now? And I could have, and most people do. But my next who was you. My next who was you, the people listening to this right now. It wasn't about me. It wasn't about my wife. She was already good. It wasn't about my children. They was already good. I was building a legacy. However, I became less and less selfish and more self-aware. So I started looking around myself at the other people in my community. And I said, you know, there's a leadership gap. There's a gap in leadership. There's a gap in big business that can employ people. Small businesses are good for up to 20 people, but big businesses take care of communities, pay taxes. I said, okay, I've done what I've done and I'm at this level. Do I go further? And because there were more who's, because I had cousins, because I had aunties, because I had friends, because I looked outside of my immediate circle, High Ranking is on IG, Phenomenal Morning. I said, you know what? I'm going back in. I'm going back in. And I went through the PhD. I went through the PhD work for an organizational development and change PhD. And they said, are you going to do the dissertation now? Let's go into the dissertation phase. And I thought about it. I said, do I quit now? Now do I quit? Have I touched enough who's to finally settle and do the dissertation and be done with this thing? And I said, there's more who's. I said, there's more people. And I said, there's a leadership gap in our community. So I went back to get an Ed.D. in leadership. So right now I'm in the 4th chapter of an Ed.D. and I'm all but dissertation in my PhD. So I'll be combining the two of them and having an Ed.D. and a PhD. And I worked with my clients until my clients paid 3 times what I was making in my consultancy role in order to leave. I didn't leave because I just wanted to leave my job. I love my job and I love the people that I worked with. But the who's demanded my release and my freedom. So I want you to think of who you're serving when it comes to sales. Georgina, when it comes to sales, when it comes to your job, you got to close you first. That there's people more important to do more for, whether that's going back to school, whether that's getting a certification, whether that's getting a trade, whether that's becoming more proficient, whether it's making friends and doing the network piece and climbing the social ladder within the organization. See, there's things that we don't do because we don't want to do them. And because we think of ourselves, we're like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to the party. I'm not going to the Christmas party. I'm not going to meet with nobody. I'm not doing that. I'm not going back to school. I'm not doing the certificate piece. But if you get out of you, because it's not about you, when you think about the people that you love and the people that you serve and the people that you could serve or the people that are dependent upon you, you'll get out of yourself and you'll get to work.
Yes, sir. 100%. Guys, by the way, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. So like Sean was saying, it's all about the who. And, just my experience with closing as well, it's only about the who. It's the who in that context, meaning it's the who, it's your family. But if you look at let's say the prospect, it's about the who. It's not about you. So I want to read this. So Yvette says, I'm doing it for the lives I will impact my mom, my huge family, and my clients. That's right. So let me put this out, Sean. Closing is not something you do to somebody. Closing is something you do for somebody. Guys, you could write that down. A lot of people, they feel afraid. They feel hesitation. They feel a little bit of fear when asking for the sale or when, asking for some kind of close. But guys, you have to realize that it's not something that you're doing to somebody. And the reason I say that is because everybody wants to be a good person. Like, people generally want to be good people. And people don't want to hurt people. People don't want to harm people. So even when we tell people to raise their prices, they say, well, if I raise my price, is it not going to hurt them? No, guys, it's not something that you're doing to somebody. It's something that you're doing for somebody. And it ties back into what Sean was just saying. It's all about the who. It's all about the who. When I get on a call, I say, the only reason I'm here is to create a bridge that's going to take you from where you are right now to exactly where you want to be. That's it. It's all about the other person. It's all about the other person.
Let me acknowledge the people on IG again. We've got Lone Star Zoe, we've got High Ranking 01, we've got L Townsend, and we've got Rahman on IG. Right, guys, if you have a question, put it down there in the comments. I will respond. I will answer it live. So don't be afraid. It's okay. Same thing on LinkedIn. If you guys have a question, if you want to ask a question, raise your hand. I'll bring you up to the stage. You'll be able to ask a question. On Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and IG. If you have a question, put it in there. YouTube, if you have a question, put it in there and we'll answer it. Guys, we are the produce. We are the product of closing successfully. We are the product of personal branding successfully. We have closed deals. We have built a brand. Richard Jackson, I see you. We got Ricardo Jackson on IG. Listen, we're in the building and you can be too. Think about where you want to grow to, who you want to serve, how you want to serve them, and ask a question. I guarantee you the answer will move the needle.
Yes, sir. We're actually due for another break. So, Sean, let's take that quick break. And when we come back, more on closing. Stay tuned.
All right, let's go. The reason why I did this and what I do is help leaders to become brands and brand themselves. You train people how to treat you by how you treat yourself. I teach authenticity marketing. If people can take advantage of you, they will in your personal or professional existence.
My biggest takeaway just from day one is you are the brand. I would recommend it to anybody that's really looking to build a personal brand.
Just the brand in general has changed my life. I've grown so much since I've been a part of this.
I see myself in what he does, and I believe in it just as much as I believe in myself.
I don't talk theory, I don't talk hyperbole, I don't talk opinion. Nothing I talk is anything but evidence-based.
During the G Circle retreat in Atlanta, I had the pleasure and the honor of listening to Mr. Sean Rais. He will not only impact your organization, but he will elevate your team to another level.
When you change you, when you put you into the equation, the whole system is different. I guarantee you, you got the right thing. You are the right person. If you can present yourself in the best way possible, there's no negotiation.
His energy is infectious, and I have so many takeaways from the presentation that I can't wait to get started and implement them today to see the result.
Business is like a game of chess. It's not checkers. If you don't know how to lead with a personal brand, then you're losing the battle.
Everything about Sean's talk was fantastic. I mean, I got so much from it.
So he was really bringing fire and passion and love and spirit to let everybody else know how do you become a leader amongst the leaders.
You hold the key in your hand. There is more power in this phone than there was that took the first man to the moon.
His energy, his dynamic information, gave a really great presentation.
I didn't ask for any money. I didn't have an offer. I had a heart to help people and meet them where they were at and find their need and fulfill it.
Sean is the bomb.
Quick.
All right, guys, we're back. What's up, Sean?
I was letting the people on IG watch the commercial as well, because I'm like, they sitting there watching me. I'm like, I can't speak over it. I said, let me switch it around so they could see it. So yeah, we got some hard. I want to shout out Ricardo Jackson real quick, because Ricardo Jackson went from LinkedIn Voice to LinkedIn Live to commenting on the LinkedIn Live. Yes, sir. To coming on IG and following us and watching us there too. So Ricardo Jackson, I told him, I said, okay, brother, I said, you proficient. I said, you proficient in social media. I see you. I like that. And you can make a lot of money too, brother. You can make a lot of money. All you got to do is know these, what do they call them? Social media streets. You know these internet social media streets. There's a lot of capital potential there for you. Go ahead, Junior.
Yeah, so we actually have a question, right? So okay. I'm gonna take it. So Ajayi says, would like to ask, how do you come out of the fear of doing the right thing, most especially when you feel you are not good enough?
I love it. I love it. You got to get out of a silo, Ajayi, right? When you're by yourself, you're not gonna feel good enough because you're by yourself. It's just like in the mirror. It's just like it's being in a house with no mirror. If you're in a house with no mirror, then you're not sure how you look. You don't know. You think your hair is parted to the right, but it might be parted to the left, right? You don't know because you can't. So let me say it this way. It's hard to read the wrapper from the inside of the bottle. It's impossible, as a matter of fact, to read the wrapper from the inside of the bottle. And that's why you need feedback. In an organization, you're given a performance review. In our personal lives, many times we don't get a performance review unless we do from the spouse. And sometimes that's rough. It's abrasive, and we see it as condemning. Sometimes it's hard to take an appreciative view of feedback, especially when it's critical and it's meant to change you and make you better. Sometimes it seems like an attack, and that's usually from personal immaturity, things that have happened when you were young that you were traumatized by. So when people might raise their voice or talk to you in a certain tone, you feel offended, right? That's because something happened to you in your past. But you got to find yourself in a community, Ajayi. You got to get in a community of people that have been down this road and know what we're doing, so that we can edify you and push you forward and give you the tools and the praise to let you know that you're good enough. You're good enough. You're phenomenal enough. You look fine. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing broken. I don't care what happened to you. I made a lot of wrong decisions. It's in service that we are sanctified. And I don't mean that in no pseudo, funny way, but I'm serious. It's in our service that we become confirmed. The only problem that we have with confidence is we don't know our own competence. And the only reason we don't know our own competence is because we're not busy enough in service.
Yes, sir. I totally agree. And, whatever it is, Ajayi, whatever it is that you want to do, I would start by just giving it away.
That's it.
Just give it away. And this is from personal experience. When I started doing copy, I gave it away. I didn't ask for money. I just say, hey, can I do this for you? And eventually you get the confirmation from giving it away. So when you perform the task, people say, hey, you're really good. And then you start to get confirmation, and then you feel more comfortable asking for a sale or asking for what you're worth. So that's another tip on top of what Sean just said. And also, Sean, something that I notice is that the people who often feel that way, they're often the most competent. They just need the confidence. So it's like the more you know, the more you realize how much you don't know. When you don't know anything, you feel like you know everything when you don't know anything. But when you know something, you realize how much more there is to know. So the fact that you feel that way means that you may be actually one of the most competent people in your space. You just need the confidence.
And let me say this, you need to come out of your space, because if you're the most competent person in your room, you're in the wrong room. If you're the smartest person in the room and learning has stopped and everyone comes to you for learning and everyone comes to you for advice, but when it comes to you getting advice, you don't have anyone to come to, then you need to get out of that room. You might need to come back and serve that room, but you might need to get into another room where you're being served, because if you're not being served, then you're empty and you're not being filled up. So your competence will leave if you're not constantly being poured into. Ricardo on IG says this is an amazing response. He says, I felt like I have gotten to a point where I am looking for folks on the same level and they are far and few in between. That's because you're in the room, brother. I'm glad that you said that, right? You need to get out of that room because you're no longer growing. You're in danger now. You're in danger. When you get into a room and you're excited because you're learning and there's so much new information being poured into you, that's phenomenal. The only thing that makes you certain that you haven't outgrown it is if you haven't implemented and benefited from it. But once you've implemented and benefited from the teaching, and now you become an authority, and you are the most respected person in the room and the highest you have the highest intellectual capacity within the room, it's time for you to find another room and start to grow again, right? Because if you don't, then you're stagnated. And if you're stagnated, I promise you, if you're stagnated, first your encouragement dips and then your economy dips. Your encouragement dips and then your economy. So it's the same thing. Like, we were meant to grow, be fruitful, dominate, multiply. And if we stop growing, then in our creation, in our very identity, we become stunted and we become apathetic, and we get this taste in our mouth like still water. Watch this. Still water sours. Just water. Pure water. If you leave it still long enough, it'll grow sour and bitter like vinegar. So you got to keep growing. You got to get new things. You got to be around new things. That's why people like to travel. It's not because they're tired of where they are or because they're tired of their environment. It's just because we were meant to see. The eyes and the ears are the mouths of the mind. So if we're not hearing new information and if we're not being poured into, our brain gets tired and we become lethargic or distant with our surroundings and dissatisfied. So yeah, you want to keep growing, man. Keep climbing, keep finding those rooms. That's how you found us, man. Glad to have you here too. JK Patel is on LinkedIn Live. Welcome, Jay. Let's go. We're talking about branding, we're talking about business building, and specifically we're talking about closing the deal as it pertains to branding.
Yes, sir. And Sean, can you put up the link for the live deep dive?
Oh,
so
yeah.
For Ajayi and also for Ricardo and anybody else that's viewing, like if you want to get out of your environment, step into a new environment where you can connect with like-minded individuals, and go to www.livedeepdive.com. That's www.livedeepdive.com. It's right on the screen. Type it into your browser, register immediately. Don't wait.
Yeah, we'll see you on Saturday, guys. That's real facts. If you guys are interested in like doing the one-on-one piece or the group piece where you come in, and this is all free, right? This is all free. This is no charge at all, no risk involved whatsoever. This is service. LiveDeepDive.com. Register. We'll be there Saturday, Eastern Standard, 5 p.m.
Yes, sir. All right, Sean. So let's go further with the questions, right? And guys, by the way, if you have any questions, please go ahead and put them in the chat. Like you could see, we answered Ajayi's question, and she had a phenomenal question. Hopefully, we see her on Saturday. So, when it comes to closing, questions that I often get would be, I've made it all the way up to the point where I'm ready to ask for the sale or for the promotion. I know my value. I know what I have to offer. I know that what I do is good. Okay. What's stopping me? What is the thing, the invisible thing that's stopping me? Why is it so difficult? Why is it so difficult?
It's difficult. It's difficult because it's unknown. It's the fear of the unknown. That's all it is. So a high-ranking 01 asks, hello, sir. What advice would you give one starting life from scratch to help improve himself? And it says, thanks, right? So it's the same thing. You have to find someone who's been where you're trying to go. That's it. Success leaves clues. So I would say the same thing to the person in your case scenario, Junior, who's scared of asking for the close, scared of asking for the sale. What do? They have to find someone who's closed the deal before so they can become inspired. Because if you're not inspired, then there's nothing to aspire towards. So it's inspiration that leads to your aspiration. If you're not inspired, then there's no reason to aspire. If you don't know there's anything within reach, why would you reach? For me, I had to see someone who was successfully doing what I found to be phenomenal. Before I saw him doing it, or before I saw it being done, it was a non-entity in my mind. I could not see it. I could not entertain it. It wasn't a reality for me. But once I saw it being done, I said, oh, now I'm exposed. Now I can't go back. Now I caught it, right? Because success is contagious. Write that down. Success is contagious. All you got to do is get inside the incubator. All you got to do is be inside the same tank. And you're going to catch it. Guaranteed, you're going to catch it. 5 figures and 7 figures don't get along. 5 figures got to grow to 7 figures in order for them to continue to coexist. Same thing with 7 figures and 9. Trust me, everybody thinks millions of dollars is a lot of money, but it's not. That's why we named this the $1 billion brand and $1 billion breakfast with the brand. Because everybody thinks, well, what will happen is the wrong thing that will happen is you'll set a target too low and hit it. Trust me. You'll say, I want to make $1 million, and then you'll make $1 million and realize, oh, I'm not really well off. Tax is going to take almost half of that, depending on how your structure is built. You know, so if you make $1 million, you might as well say, I got 500,000, which means you have nothing to spend. Nothing to spend at all. As soon as you move $1 off of 500, you in a different tax bracket. As soon as you spend $1 of $1 million, you in another tax bracket. So you got to keep growing. It's not big enough. And if you feel like you're big enough, it's because you're in a small tank. Let me tell you something. When I was growing up, I love fish. I love fish and I love Oscars specifically. They're called African cichlid. African cichlid. So I had a small tank. You know, one of the little starters with the goldfish. So I had this little starter bowl with the goldfish, but I put in the African cichlid. So the African cichlid made short work of the goldfish. There was no more goldfish. I woke up, the goldfish was gone. I looked around on the floor. I said, where's the goldfish? Goldfish isn't there, right? So what I said was 5 figures and 7 figures don't get along. So 7 figures consumed the 5 figures. 5 figures became full. I said, wow, okay, that's cool. And then I said, let me go get another fish. So I wanted to get another fish. So I needed a bigger tank to put 2 fish in there. So I got a little bit of a bigger tank and put another fish in there, and they grew bigger. Now the fish grew bigger, but it grew to a certain size, and then it stopped growing. Pay attention, high ranking. I'm still answering your question. What do you do when you want to, you know, start, if you're starting life from scratch, what would you do? And I'm still answering your questions on IG, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and on live. How do you make more? How do you get bigger? How do you take success to the next level? How do you build a more phenomenal personal brand? How do you grow in your leadership? How do you grow in your sales? How do you make more impact, make more money, enjoy more independence? You got to get out of the small tank. You got to get out of the small tank, because watch this, guys. I bought a bigger tank and my fish grew to a size that was comfortable inside of that tank. But then I said, I want to get some more fish. I want to get a little cashew. I want to get the colored sand and the colored ground. You know, I want to get the pH balance. I like fish. I like, life. I like to see life. So plants, fish, that type of stuff is like what I like. So I bought a bigger tank thinking I was going to have a lot more room for a lot more fish. What happened? As soon as I got the bigger tank, the fish started to grow again. So you will grow to the size of the company that you keep and the environment that you're in. When I realized that, man, it changed my life.
Wow. That's mind blowing.
When I realized that, it changed my life. It changed my life, man. It changed my entire life.
Guys, did you hear that?
I started to seek out.
That was super powerful, Sean.
I started to seek out mentorship. I said, hold on, there's something going on. I said, hold on, there's something going on. And I started looking for the most different person in the most different ecosystem, the most challenging, the most expensive ecosystem that I could find. And I got up in there at all costs to save my life and to build my family. I said, I got to go.
You know what's so funny? You know what's so funny? You know, hearing you say that, like, this is the kind of thing that everybody sort of knows. So everybody knows that. Everybody, if you've been around any kind of personal development, you know this. It's not anything new, but it's the kind of thing that nobody really addresses or nobody really, you know, takes account of. So everybody knows that you are basically the people that you keep. But how many of us actually consciously assess who are the people that we're keeping around us? Who are the people that are where we need to go, and how are we actually consciously making an effort to get around those people? So it's one of those things. It's one of those things like eat healthy, right? Eat healthy, lose unnecessary fat, but nobody does it. He's one of the
Familiarity, contempt, man. Familiarity breeds contempt. High ranking 01 says, thank you so much, sir. I am inspired. Put up the prayer hands. Well, listen, we're inspired by your presence. I'm inspired by your presence. Continue to come. We'll see you tomorrow. This is what we do. We do it every day. We do it in every way, right? And we do it for free because we want to help people. Genuinely. Everything comes with a price nowadays. And sometimes the price is high, like the price of tea in China is changing. Some things you got to give away.
Yes, you do.
This is one of them.
Yes, you do. Last question, Sean. Somebody hit me up on Messenger today.
Okay.
They told me that they're trying to close a deal. They have
Okay.
two prospects. Both of the prospects are hesitating. They're hesitating to close the deal.
Okay.
Now, I know a little bit about closing, right? So I know oftentimes we create the objections that we get. So you see where I'm going. We oftentimes create the objections that we get. So speak to that a little bit. Speak to the fact that, and this is something that you learn, right? Like just during the process. Prospect says one thing, it's normally because you're hesitating on something else that a prospect is hesitating to close with you. If you don't want to spend money, people generally don't want to spend money with you.
I'm going to look a little bit deeper into it, right? You're 100% correct. You know how when you're young, you get into a relationship and it goes wrong, and then you switch your relationship, you trade out the old relationship for a new relationship and it goes wrong. And then you say, well, I'm going to trade out this relationship and I'm going to get in another relationship and it goes wrong. At some point during this process, you have to stop and say, what is it about me? Because in every relationship I get in, it seems like, and this is what women say at some point before they do some self-evaluation, all men are the same. All men are dogs, or whatever that looks like, right? And then on the men's side, the same thing takes place. All women are this way. All women are this way. But realistically, the only thing that has changed is external. What has remained the same is internal. So if you want to change your results in business, if you want to change your results in sales, if you want to change your results on your job, in your occupation, in your performance review, in your salary, in your bank account, stop looking for things outside of you and start looking for things on the inside that you can change. Because if you're bringing the same you to a sale and you're not closing, and then you're taking that same you to the next sale and you're not closing, and then you're taking that same you to the next sale and you're not closing, and then you're taking the same you to the next sale and you're not closing, you're hitting a roof. And the roof doesn't have anything to do with the person in front of you. The roof has to do with the person inside of you. When you change the person inside of you, the people outside of you will change.
Wow. Guys, you should really write this down. Same thing we were saying in the beginning. You cannot close anybody if you don't close yourself.
That's it.
To the extent that you are closed, you will close.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're going to go to one more break before we get up out of here. Listen, I want to give a super shout out to IG. They have shown up. Thank you so much, as well as the LinkedIn Live. I'm loving this new app, and we're going to do this every single day in every single way, right? Because listen, there's another thing I want to just leave you with real quick before we go to the break too. And that's that there is not enough value to give in 50 million lifetimes. There is not enough value to give in 50 million lifetimes. I was asked last night on a coaching call by a client, what if you give away everything? And I said, you don't understand. You are the value. You are the value. And you can never give away you. We have Hope on LinkedIn. Peace, Hope. We have Hope on LinkedIn, the live piece. So we're talking about branding you, building your brand, building a phenomenal brand, going from 5 figures to 6 figures, 6 figures to 7 figures and beyond, right? So we're talking right now about how you can never give it all away. So people say to me all the time, Sean, why do you go live so much? Why do you just give? And I say, well, I have it to give. I have the competence and the confidence to continue to give freely. Now, on the back end, of course, we eating. We have courses in branding, coaching, speaking, closing, consulting, marketing. So there's multiple different offers and monetized value on the back end, but on the front end, if I don't serve, when the moment that I stop serving, I get restless. Something inside of me just doesn't feel right because I'm a servant leader at heart and it is my job to serve. I know everybody can't pay for the offers that we have on the back end. So I got to give them something so they can go be more productive and then remember where they got the information from so they could be more productive and make more money and come back. Or go elsewhere. It won't harm us, but it'll help you. So if I can be of value to you, then that's the goal. And that's the purpose. Again, when you change you, everything around you changes. Everything around you changes. And there will never, ever, ever be a limitation, a lack, or a shortage of value for you to give because you are the value, just like you are the brand. Let's grow. We'll be right back.
I'm Jackie Miller, and I was really drawn to Sean's personality from the moment that I did the Branding Like a Leader challenge. This was the free challenge that he offered. And I'm so glad that he offered it because I joined the class and I was blown away. First of all, by his giving personality. For me, it was the personality that really drew me in. But then as he was sharing his wealth of knowledge, I realized that there was so much that I didn't know. I already knew there was a lot I didn't know, but there was so much that I didn't know. And he was just freely giving this information. It was evident that he really wanted to help people. And as somebody who likes to help people, I connected with that. And then I was able to connect not only with Sean, but then with his team, with Junior and with Jason, Mr. B, and just the entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond. One day, something had come up and Junior he texted me just to see how I was doing. And that really touched my heart. So that relational piece is there. So if you were having any doubts about what Mr. Sean Rais and his team with the brand can offer you, let me let you know. It is a treat and it is a joy, and you will not be disappointed.
I said Sean Rais. I'm proud. I said Sean Rais. Leadership is not the brand they made for us.
Listen, he brought fire, heat. He didn't hold back.
20 years down the line, what I could sell, why not serve first? Service over salary. Branding like a leader closes the gap for people who want branding. Speaking like a leader closes the gap for people who are nervous about speaking. If Steve Jobs would have speculated, we wouldn't have Apple.
He changed lives. He helped people open up their business and start their business.
We are the brand. Some people say, Sean, should I quit my job? Mentally, yes.
As a speaker too, to be able to learn from him and watch him and game respects game. And I want to have that much game someday.
The right client, pay $500,000 for what you do. You have to be bold in your beliefs.
He has been an amazing asset to this event and a pleasure to work with. Very captivating, collaborative, worked very well with the audience.
I want to help you. Put a 0 behind your number, right?
The session was great. How he is online, virtually, he is even more phenomenal in person.
Be the face of change that you want to see. Stop asking questions and start giving demands.
The entire team has just been absolutely incredible. They are a joy to work with. They go above and beyond.
Give yourself a round of applause. Yes. All right, guys. As we close, I want you to think of who and how. Who can you serve and how can you close today? Who can you serve and how can you close? You can't service what you can't close, right? You can't service what you can't close. If a child refuses to listen to you, then you can't be of the most value to them. You cannot be of the most value to them. Okay, so watch this, and I'm going to give you something that's so simple. I love fish. Like, I love fish. I love salmon specifically, right? So if I want salmon tonight, I'm going to have to close my wife on salmon. I'm going to have to close her, right? So I want you to think of who can you serve and how can you close, right? So I'll do something real nice, get some flowers or send some chocolates or get something delivered, clean the house, wash the dishes, set everything up, right? Service. So when she comes down and says, what's going on down here? I'm like, oh, I just felt like cleaning up, baby. I just like to take care of you. Do you mind if could we have some salmon tonight? And then she'll say, of course, no problem at all, because I've served her. So she'll want to turn around and serve me. A lot of times we think about what we can get out of the deal. We're self-centered. We're selfish. And the science of service and the science of closing is being selfless. Not thinking of what it can do for you, but thinking of how you can serve the other person. It's the same thing with the promotion. It's the same way with getting another number added to your bank account on your job. It's adding a zero to your value first, guys. Everybody wants to add a zero to their bank account, but you got to add a zero to you first. You got to add a zero to your skill set first. You got to add a zero to your value first. And then you have to show forth and prove that power in the marketplace or on your job. You got to serve. Dress not for the job that you have, but dress for the office that you're looking for. Serve not for the station that you are in, but serve for the next situation and the next opportunity that opens up before it becomes open. Because you cannot have what you have not serviced. You cannot have what you do not deserve. You have to give, and then you will be rewarded. That's just the way it is. I want to give a shout out to Georgina. She has stuck with us through the entire LinkedIn Live. That's good work. Super proud of you. Hope came in a little bit late, but been with us since then. Phenomenal. Welcome. Love it. We've got Lorisha, I think Loretta or Latricia Townsend on IG, Maxim on IG, High Ranking 01 on IG, Richard Jackson, High Ranking, Lone Star Zoe. We got a lot of people on IG. Listen, guys, it has been a phenomenal pleasure to serve you. We have a lot of people on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, what is this? YouTube. You guys are in the building. You're closing yourself to show up to the $1 billion Breakfast with the Brand, and that's phenomenal. Same brand time, same brand channel tomorrow. Come with the same energy. Tag somebody, bring them in, help somebody, serve somebody. It's not always about you being rewarded when you serve someone. Serve someone else, and wealth and reward will be added unto you. That's all I've got, Junior.
Yes, sir, guys. It has been an amazing one again. Tune in tomorrow. Tomorrow is actually Friday, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Guys, tomorrow. We'll be talking about marketing. And you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss
it. Tomorrow's payday in the conventional sense. Let's get you paid. Let's get you right. And let's get you really right so you can make it rain. This is Sean Rice Jr. Frederick. $1 billion Breakfast with the Brand. Let's grow.